I'm again telling you that don't treat this subject like any other subject. This subject is immensely helpful. This subject will be immensely giving you benefits in terms of your career, in terms of as a electronics engineer moving ahead. Okay. So what we will do is in this first lecture, um, first I want you to go through the syllabus. I had already shared that with you, but what I think is before the directly moving for the subject itself, you should know what we are going to study. And one more thing that I want to tell you right now is that I myself have designed this subject. Okay, so this scripting language subject, unlike that audit course that we had studied, this subject I have designed myself. Okay, so the contents, the way of conduct, the evaluation theory in consultation with HOD sir, in consultation with experts, in consultation with various faculties in this domain, I have designed this subject so that it will give you utmost all the benefits that it can. Okay, so carefully, just I would like you to have a look at what the contents will be there. Okay, so that is just I will share my screen. Just wait. Okay, so I guess you are able to see the syllabus. Okay, in front of you, right? Uh, Okay, just go through the syllabus or the structure. It's actually specifically the structure that we are going to study first. Okay, so in that, as you may be able to see, I think I have shared the PDF. Okay, so you'll be able to see that. In that PDF, we are having our subject, which we are calling it as scripting language, as you can observe. Okay, so ESUELN 0703 is the name of your subject. Okay, and carefully observe here, there will be some differences in terms of lectures and practicals and credits and evaluations. Okay, so that you have to first understand. So the number of lectures for scripting language, as you can see, there will be only single lecture per week. Okay, so unlike any other subject where you are having 3 or 4 lectures, in this subject we are going to have only a single lecture that will be carrying 1 credit. Okay, whereas the evaluation theory, evaluation mechanism that we will be having, that is also somewhat different than any other subject. So how you will be evaluated is that there will be only ISC for this subject. Okay, so there is no MSc as such, there will not be any ESC. Okay, so there is only ISC that will be there to evaluate you for the theory course. Okay, so for the theory course, 1 lecture, 1 credit, and there will be 50 marks for the ISC component. Okay, so as you can observe in the above, in the other subjects, this is carrying a very high weightage in terms of ISC because it is not carrying any MSc or ESC. Okay, so 50 marks will be there for your theory subject, out of which you are supposed to secure at least 20 marks to pass for this subject. Okay, whereas if you go in the lab, okay, so UELN 0732, we are calling it as scripting languages lab. So how the structure would be that there will be one lab per week. So like any other labs that we are having for any other subjects. So there will be one lab for per batch, okay, and it will be carrying again 1 credit for lab. And the number of marks for lab, again observe here that you will be having IC only for lab, there is no POE as such. Okay, so for IC we will be having 50 marks reserved, and out of those you are supposed to secure at least 20 marks minimum to pass for this subject. Okay, so this is how the structure would be for theory, 1 lecture, for lab, 1 lab per week, and 50 marks each for theory as well as your lab. Okay, now I think we will switch to the theory part. Okay, or what we are going to study in this area. I will come back to this evaluation part again, how I see it divided and what components will be there. So we are going to study that, but timing just first, let's understand what is there in the theory course, what is there in the lab course, and then we will again come back to your uh, that evaluation scheme. Okay, I will tell you in detail how we are going to evaluate you for the theory and lab. So, as you can observe, each and every word I have written very carefully while designing this syllabus. Okay, so I want you to go through it once. Okay, that will go right now. So, scripting languages. Okay, this is the theory course that we are supposed to study. And course prerequisite. Prerequisite means what things you should be knowing before going for this course, or what are the things that are expected out of you before going for this course. So, the first prerequisite is that basic knowledge of computer programming and basics of data structures. Okay, so as you may be knowing, some of you might have studied under me for the first year as well, that I again teach one subject in first year, which is C programming. Okay, so on the same basis, I have designed this subject where it will be in line with that particular subject. Okay, so what we expect is that at least you know you should have a basic programming knowledge. Okay, and what I mean by programming knowledge is that you should be able to handle computer. Okay, that is the most basic requirement. You should be able to handle any IDE if it is given to you. Okay, so those things that we have already studied in the first year, so those will be helpful for you. Other than that, I don't think there will be anything required. And if it is required at all, I will be helping you with that, or I will be taking that in our course. Okay, so there is nothing major prerequisite that you will be needed for this subject. Okay, so the basic programming that you have done in the first year, that will be sufficient for this course. Okay, so the course description is that the course demonstrates use of tools and scripting language Python necessary for design and development of applications. Okay, so this is very important that uh, rather than going through all the scripting languages and rather than understanding everything and knowing nothing, so what I'll prefer is that rather than taking just the overviews, we will be specific regarding one scripting language. Okay, so I thought that if you look at if you look in the market, if you look in the current software domain, you will find that Python is the most used, and Python is having the highest salary in terms of your careers. So considering all the factors, considering all the things, what we have decided is that you should be studying Python in this particular scripting language course. Okay, so I'll tell you for here only that my focus will be mostly on uh, how we will be able to, or just a second, I thought I had got some message. No, okay, so our focus here will be that we will be studying Python in detail. Okay, so rather than going through all the scripting languages, the only scripting language that I'll be focusing here will be Python. Okay, what are the course objectives? Okay, so what are the objectives that we are having in the mind while studying this particular subject? We want that the student should understand basics of scripts and various scripting languages. Okay, so what does that mean is first of all, the first chapter we have designed such that it will be giving you the overview of what is scripting. It will tell you what is the concept of scripting, how it is different than programming, and what are the different scripting languages that are being used. Okay, so those things are important, and also that will be the thing that you are supposed to write in your first assignment. Okay, so the first chapter is dedicated towards the scripts and scripting languages, the general overview of that. Okay, and right from the middle of first chapter itself, we will be starting with Python. Okay, second is to study basics of programming in Python. Okay, so second, third, and fourth objective of our course, they will be mainly dealing with Python language. Okay, so we are going to study Python programming in the basics of that. Okay, so I'll again tell you that I will not be assuming anything for going for this course. I will be starting from the scratch. if you know anything about Python, if you don't know anything about Python, irrespective, regardless of that, I'll be starting right from the scratch. Okay, so where the Python word came from that point onwards to the highest object-oriented programming, to that level, I am planning to conduct this particular course. Okay, so don't worry about that if you have no knowledge about Python language. It will be very easy as you have already studied C language. Okay. To study concepts like functions, different decisions, different decision controls, and looping constructs in Python. Okay, these concepts will be familiar to you because you have come through a C programming language. So all these things we have taken in C language, those will be again there for Python, but the way of using it, the way of implementation, that will be a kind of different. Okay, because the language itself is different, so that will be that things will be there again to design real world applications in Python. Okay, so this is a very important point, to design real world applications in Python, because you are supposed to do one project at the end, okay, in Python language, and you are going to be evaluated for 20 marks. Okay, so I'll be going to that evaluation strategy after this, but just bear in mind that why I have kept this course objective to design real world applications in Python. It is not the phase of yours to just study the concept. You should be able to implement that. Okay, and it should be helpful for your campus interviews and recruitments. So what I expect is that after studying, after going through this subject, you should be able to implement that everything that you have studied for Python into a particular application that we will call it as a project, and that will be implemented. Okay, so course learning outcomes, that will be again in line with this course objective. There is nothing much difference that we will not waste our time in that. Okay, so again, as I've told you, assessment will be for 50 marks for this theory course. Okay, now most important part. Okay, so there are four chapters. Okay, because we are having restriction in number of lectures for this subject, there are only four number of chapters that are there for your for this subject. Okay, so what I've done is considering the time factor. Okay, we only had, if you count it on the right hand side, 4 plus 2 6, 9 and 5 14. Okay, so at the most you are going to have 14 lectures for this subject. But if you ask me personally, when I studied my Python language, okay, I had to go through it for around 50 to 52 hours of lectures. Okay, so this subject, it will require some time, but uh, considering the available time, considering the resources that we have, we will have to manage accordingly. Okay, but this is asking you to cover the syllabus in 14 hours, but we will make sure that we will cover it as much as possible. If you are interested, if I find that you are eager to know more about Python, I will take extra lectures as well for you. Okay, we will study it in as much detail as you want. Okay, I will teach you everything that Python is having. Okay, I'll tell you in the right at the start itself that Python is my most favorite language, if you ask me. Okay, I have studied it well and I use it everywhere, so it is one of the best languages that we're having today. If you are interested, if I find that you are interested in studying that, I will conduct as many lectures as you want. Okay, but again, just I'm telling you again that just don't take it as a regular subject. Regular subjects will only give you concepts. This is going to give you a real opportunity of recruitment. Okay, this is going to give you a real opportunity in the software domain. Okay, and considering the languages that we are having today. Okay, so as you must have already known, what is the significance of Python in among all those languages. Going through the syllabus again, first chapter, as I've told you, this will be dedicated towards mostly the overview of scripting. What is scripting? What is the scripting today? And introduction. How was the or where the scripting word came from, and what are the different scripting languages that are being used. Okay, so that is the main content of the first chapter. That is why I've called it as introduction and introduction to Python language. Okay, so here in the middle itself, I'm going to start with the Python so that we don't waste our time into overviews and all. So we are going to have introduction to Python. and setting up the programming environment for the Python. Okay, so as you know, if you want to use any language, suppose C language, so for C language we had set up an IDE for C language like code blocks and code lights. So similarly, we will have to design, or we will have to configure our computer, our mobile for that particular environment in which we can do our coding. Okay, now second, third, and fourth. If you go through it, you will find that you have already gone through these concepts before in the C language. Okay, so all the if you consider any language, these concepts will be common. Just the way of implementation, the way of execution will be different from language to language. Okay, so for the second chapter, we are having Python syntax, Python expressions, variables and values, mathematical operations, branching and conditions, if, elif, else, indentation. Okay, so these terms are not new to you. You have already gone through it. Just we are going to study it in the Python. Whereas in the third chapter, we have put loops and manipulations. Okay, so what we are going to study here is that the loops that you already know: while loop, for loop. Okay, again, strings are there. What do we know by strings? We already know what a string is. So manipulating with the strings, guess and check algorithms, approximate solutions, bisection methods. Some of the terms are new. Okay, so we will see those while we are going through the syllabus. Fourth chapter will be functions and data structures, structuring algorithm, hiding details. Again, function specifications. Functions will be your user-defined functions. Specifications, keywords, what is the difference between return, how it is different than print. Again, scope, tuples, list, aliasing. Again, I'll tell you, if you just go through it, tuple, list, and aliasing, you might find that these must be some single line or very small concepts. But the tuple itself can take 10 to 12 hours. List itself can take 10 to 12 hours. Okay, so even though these words are looking small, they are carrying a whole lot of programming or a whole lot of concepts inside them. Okay, so I know how we are. I don't know how we are going to manage it to complete all the Python, but I will be taking you the as much as we can if you do it sincerely. Okay, but thing is that again I'll tell you again I'm telling you is that you should be doing it sincerely. The subject is very easy, as you have already seen. C language, the Python is the easiest language available there. Okay, so this is it is very difficult not to understand Python. Okay, so that is the thing with Python, that it will be very easy. Just thing is that there are various things, there are a lot of things in the Python that are made available. So we'll have to go through it one by one. Okay, so aliasing, mutability, cloning, recursion, dictionaries, recursion word you have already know what it is there. Now the thing with textbooks and references. Okay, so I was very skeptical. I was very careful while putting these textbooks and references because you know what the thing is with the Python. If you compare it with the C language, the ANSI C standards have already been defined. So there can be a lot of books which are there, and all the next generations are always compatible with the previous generation. The same thing is not true for the Python. Okay, the thing is that with the next versions, few of the next versions of Python, they or the newer versions of the Python, they are not compatible with the backward Python. Okay, so the Python is continuously evolving. The Python is continuously getting changed from its developers. Okay, now the thing is that telling you a particular book for studying this Python won't be that good, because there might be changes that were not there, but they are going to be implemented. There might be things that are absolute, that are outdated. So things like those will be there while studying the Python. So I have given you some references. I have given, if you even if you see the reference, I have given you one MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology open courseware. Okay, which is there, very good course is there. Okay, and it is free course. Okay, so like this you can have some resources, but if you ask me, what I will suggest is that I will be taking, while delivering the course, I will be taking the most advanced or the most latest things about the Python 3.8 and onwards. Okay, but I will be preferring you to Google a lot while doing this course. Okay, because from the Quras, from the various forums, from various sites, you will be getting more knowledge than the books. Okay, so as I've told you, this is a real world project. This is a real world subject. It is not that conventional kind of subject where books are there, you will read it and you will implement it. Okay, this is a real thing that is going on in the world that you can use it for your advantage. Okay, so you will Google a lot. I will suggest you to go through the website, the official website of Python. It is everything is given over there. Okay, so the official website of Python, if you go over there, each and everything, each and every concept is explained over there by the various experts, by the developers. Okay, and you can take the advantage of that. They have told you which things are absolute, which things are there, which things may change, which things won't change. Okay, so all the things will be there in the uh, website on the Google. But if you trust me, I will also tell you the same things, and it will be sufficient. Whatever part I am going to tell you, that will be sufficient for going for this course. Okay, so what I'll suggest you that what I had done for studying this particular subject is that when we are going through the syllabus, okay, so do one thing, that have a habit. Okay, each and every teacher will tell you that, but for this subject, for your future reference and all, I'll suggest you that rather than going through the videos only, okay, or rather than just watching the videos only, just have a habit of keeping notebook with you. Okay, so whichever concepts are being told, whatever important things are being told, you should be having a habit of noting that down in your textbooks, in your notebooks. Okay, so that will be very helpful, because what happens is that regarding these programming languages, what I have experienced is that if you understand, even if you understand it in the first attempt, if you try to recall it after 1 month and all, okay, it will not be very easy to recall all the things. Okay, and again you will have to go through all the videos and all. Even though I am going to publish the videos online, but again you will have to study through the videos, and that will be very time consuming. Okay, so what I'll suggest you that just keep a habit of putting notebook with you, so that whatever things I'm telling you, whatever things are being shared on the slides and all, you will be able to write that down. Just important things. Just don't make habit of writing everything down. That will be waste of time, and that will divert you from the content itself. But uh, I'll suggest you that just keep habit of writing important things down. If there is a concept that you find that this is very important, I won't be able to recall it afterwards, so just write that down. You can elaborate it, you can explain it after the lecture itself. Just keep some space over there so that you can write your explanation and all. Just write the headings so that it will be helpful for you. Okay, so these are some of the textbook references. This is the syllabus that I've told you, that will be there for your that will be there for your curriculum. One more thing, that one of the most important thing will be the labs. Okay, frankly, I will tell you that I won't be able to cover anything in your theory lectures. Okay, that will be just an theory kind of way, or that will be just an theory explanation. Okay, that won't make you understand anything unless we go through the lab. Okay, so the lab is the most important part of our curriculum. Okay, it is where you are going to understand the subject completely. Okay, so the scripting language lab. Okay, so again, prerequisite is that basic knowledge of computers and familiarity with the basic concepts of programming. As I've told you, the course demonstrates use of the tools and the course description. Okay, the course demonstrates use of the tools and the scripting language Python necessary for design and development of application. This course intends to inspire students to use programming to solve computational problems. Okay, as a part of this course, students will learn and practice programming skills using Python. Okay, so this again course description. I have written it myself very carefully. Just observe it. I'm focusing more on you should be able to acquire this skill. Okay, so that is my one and only intention behind this particular course. Okay, again objectives are that again same objectives will be there: to understand significance of various scripting language that it was there in theory course, perform basic programming, in Python to use concepts like functions, different, and all those things. But the last thing, okay, again, this is the most important thing that I want you to have to understand developing real world applications in Python. Okay, so this is the most important thing that you will be doing in the lab course. Okay, so the lab course is like this. The first part or the first there will be in total 9 experiments. Okay, so 9 experiments will be there. Each experiment will be conducted, okay, in your lab sessions, obviously. And the first experiment will be study of scripting languages. Okay, so this will be only the introduction of scripting languages. You are supposed to survey various scripting languages that are being used. I will tell you what is the concept of scripting language and all, but this is the only experiment that will be dedicated for that. All other 8 experiments, they will be mainly focusing on the basic concepts of your scripting, basic concepts of Python. Okay, so as you can observe, you can view it later on as well, that all the experiments I have designed it, uh, which are again similar to that we have seen in the C language. Okay, so functions are there, strings are there, tuples and list. I will tell you what it is. Aliasing mutability again. Recursion, we have already seen what it is. Loop control, for and while, flow control, if else, and again input output operations. All those things are there that we have already done in the C language. But I will tell you again is that it will not be a boring kind of subject. This will be very interesting. It will not, you will not feel that I know all these things and why I'm wasting my time. Python is a very different kind of implementation. It is a very different kind of deployment of things. So you will study a lot of different things while going through this syllabus. Okay, so that things are there. Okay, what I want to understand here is that, and be very careful what I'm going to tell you right now. The way we are going to have the evaluation for this particular subject. Okay, 90% of the part I have finalized. Okay, if there are any changes, I will inform you. But you should be knowing in all how we are going to evaluate this particular subject. Okay. The first thing is, as I've told you, if it is possible, I will suggest you to write that down if you are having any notebook along with you. Okay. So the thing is, the first part or the theory evaluation of our subject scripting language, whether it is scripting language, and it is carrying 50 marks. Okay, so how these 50 marks are divided, how these 50 marks will be evaluated. Okay, so the plan is for this theory course or as well as this lab course, the same evaluation strategy that we have done for C language in the first year, same evaluation strategy will be followed. Okay, so as you know how you were evaluated for theory course in the first year C language, so same thing will be there, even though actually for all other subjects, as you can observe here, for all other subjects they have defined IC1 and IC2. Okay, but there is no distinction as such for our subject. They have just defined IC. Okay, so what I've decided is that we are assuming that there will be IC1 and IC2. So because there are 50 marks, it will be 25 marks each. IC1 will be for 25 marks, IC2 theory will be for 25 marks. Okay, and how that distribution is there. So the first IC1, which is for 25 marks, it will be having 3 components. Okay, the first component will be quiz 1. Okay, so quiz 1 will be conducted on chapter 1. Okay, that like we used to take it in the first year C language. Quiz 1, it will be carrying 10 marks. Okay, chapter 1 will be there. Okay, on which we are going to conduct our quiz, and 10 marks will be dedicated for that quiz. Okay, again chapter 2, it will be carrying another quiz which will be evaluated for 10 marks. So 20 marks are there for IC1. One presentation we are going to conduct for 5 marks. Okay, so how, what will be that presentation? It will be based on all the 2 chapters that you have studied. So any point will be given, you will make a group of 3 or 4 students, batch wise, and accordingly a presentation will be conducted online. And if the online things are still going at that time, so presentation will be there, okay, for 5 marks. IC2 for 25 marks, remaining 25 marks for this. It will be again two quizzes will be there, quiz 3 and quiz 4 respectively on chapters 3 and chapter 4. Okay, and flow chart. Okay, so you have already gone through dia. Okay, so dia will be there, and you know how to do the or how to write the flow chart. Okay, so what I'm planning is that we will be doing some applications, will be doing some programs about which you can write a flowchart for 5 marks. You can draw a flowchart for 5 marks. Okay. Now going towards the scripting languages lab. Okay, it will be for 50 marks again. Okay, so what that distribution will be, very carefully understand it. It will be very important. As I've told you, for lab we are having 50 marks and how they are distributed. So as I've already told you, there are 9 number of experiments in our lab. Okay, so like we used to do it in the C language, you are supposed to upload the file of that code towards your Moodle, and the all the 9 experiments, they will be evaluated for 20 marks. Okay, so each experiment will carry almost 2 marks. Okay, so likewise all the files that you're going to upload on time, if you do it, so they will be evaluated for 20 marks. Okay, right. Next things, so 20 marks is done for out of this 50. Okay, what is that? Okay, so 20 marks are done out of this 50. Next 20 marks, they will be for your project. Okay, so what I'm expecting here is that you are going to do one real time project at the end after the completion of our syllabus. One real time application you are going to simulate using Python language, and whatever project you are going to do, okay, that project will be evaluated for 20 marks. Okay, each per student, that will be evaluated for 20 marks, and remaining 10 marks, it will be there for oral. Okay, so one oral will be conducted for the syllabus. Okay, so out of 4 chapters that we are there, so one oral will be conducted in the end. Okay, so out of the 4 chapters or out on the Python language, and that oral will have 10 marks. Okay, so I think you have in general understood that hierarchy, or generally understood the strategy what we are going to follow for this particular subject. As soon as I get it finalized with the various formalities and all, I will post it on your Moodle and on our group, but this will be the general structure that is there. Okay, what I and of course, as you must have observed and what we used to do in the first year, I don't, or no, I'm not that much of a fan of writing down anything. Okay, I don't like giving you written assignments and all. I don't know how much they are helpful and all. Okay, so what I am doing here is that I prefer things that will be more useful. So the components that I have preferred, that seem to be more useful than giving you written assignments, giving you journals and all. Okay, so I hope that you will get the most out of it. I hope that you will make the most out of it. I hope that you will earn the maximum marks out of 100. So as you must have observed, there are 100 marks for this subject now. Okay, it is almost as if you are writing a paper of 100 marks, but that 100 marks are or they will be given throughout your course. Okay, so continuous evaluation will be there for 100 marks. If you do it sincerely, if you do it with involvement, you will get maximum out of 100. Okay, so that will be my suggestion to you before going for this subject. Regarding the teaching and all, I will be taking the theory lectures of this subject, as I've already told you on the group. Again, two batches will be with me. Okay, I will be conducting the practicals of 2 batches, and other 2 batches will be with Vidata madam. Okay, so she will be taking the other 2 batches for you. Okay, so but we'll be making sure that all the things are being taken, or all the things that are being taught will be in sync with each other, so that there will not be any conflict of syllabus or understanding while doing it on your own. Okay, so I think I have made my point. I think I have told you everything in general about the syllabus. If you have any doubt, you can raise your hand. You can ask me anything. We will discuss on it. Do you have any doubt? If you have any doubt, you can raise your hand, or you can message me in the chat box. Okay, chat option is also there. Huh? Okay, even though I have disabled it for everyone, it is also there. If you click on my username, you will find that chat option. You will be able to post anything if you wish to say. Or you can raise your hand, I will unmute you, and then you can speak. Do you have any doubt? Okay, just do one thing. Just raise your hand if you have understood what I've said.